In this video, we'll continue from the previous lesson of using Photoshop to add additional textures and decals to the side of our car. Okay, so picking up where we left off in Photoshop, in the last video we went ahead and added the mud decals. Let's go ahead and add some additional textures to the side of this car. So the one I'm going to start out with next is, let's go ahead and use this tribal decal. You can see a preview of it down here. Okay, so opening that up, I want to sort of do something similar to what we did with the hood decal, and that's make just a few quick adjustments to this to make the overall color a little bit lighter. So with this tribal 12 selected, let's go ahead and go up to Image, Adjustments, and let's come down to Hue and Saturation. Okay, so here's the Hue and Saturation palette, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on this Colorize checkbox down here in the lower corner. And what I can do now is just take up the saturation and adjust this hue slider until I find a color that pretty well suits what I'm looking for. So we may need to go in and adjust the lightness of this. Okay, so something kind of like that. Just a lighter blue. Okay, so I'll hit OK. And the same with all the other textures from 3D Total. They all include an alpha channel. So if you control click on the alpha channel, we can go ahead and just drag this image down. Okay, and we may want to zoom out on this just so we can kind of see how we're placing this. And as it turns out, this is actually just about the right size for what we need. So fortunately for me, I don't have to do just a whole lot of resizing on this. Okay, and I can go ahead and rename this layer to something like Tribal Decal. Might help if I spell it correctly. There we go. So we're pretty much finished with this. We can go ahead and close it. And now we'll go ahead and bring in just a couple of additional decals. These two that I'm going to be bringing in are just logo decals. Okay, so the first one I'll bring in is this Vulcan High Performance. Okay, and again, I can go to the alpha channel on this, control click on the alpha channel, and let's go ahead and just pull this in. And this decal, I'm going to go ahead and place it sort of back here on the rear of this car. So using my free transform, I can just find a place to put this. This is going to be kind of like I said on this back area. Okay, and I can just rename this layer to Vulcan. Okay, and now I have one more decal that I want to place on this car, and that is this Blaufunkt. Okay, so I can open that up. Okay, same as before, go to the Channels tab, control click on the alpha channel, and then just drag this in. Okay, and if some of these, like this black decal, become pretty difficult to see, what you can do is, if you're having trouble seeing some of these textures on this background, what you can do is just select it and hit Control I on your keyboard to inverse the colors. So that's just a really quick way to sometimes give you a little bit of a head start in making these textures a little bit easier to see. So for this one, I'm going to just place it right down here at the bottom of the ground effect. Something kind of like that. Okay, so now what I should have is the mud texture, the tribal decal, the Blaufunkt, and this Vulcan High Performance. Okay, now what I want to do before I finish up with this video is go ahead and make our final image out of this. So what I can do now is on this background layer, if I wanted to, you can just click on this little black swatch here, and that'll bring up this large color picker. And let's find sort of a medium gray color, something kind of like this. Okay, hit OK. And just to make things easier for us, let's go ahead and select this background layer and just hit Alt and then your backspace key to fill this background with whatever color we happen to have selected. For making alpha channels, I find that sort of this medium gray color helps, just so that you don't wind up with any extra black color or any white halos around your image. This sort of helps to minimize that effect if you're using sort of a middle gray color. Okay, so what we can do to start to make this alpha channel, because you can see right now we don't have one. So to start to make our alpha channel, let's go ahead and click on the Channels tab and start things off by making a new channel. And you can see it'll name that Alpha 1. Okay, and now what we can do is if you control click on any one of these layers, let's go ahead and just start with the tribal decal, control click on it, and you can see that that will become highlighted with the marching ants. Now what we can do with this highlighted, if we hold Control and Shift at the same time, what we can do is go in and start to grab all of these so that we have a marching ants around everything. So again, that's with Control and Shift to select multiple layers. So now what we can do is go back to the channels, go back to Alpha 1, and Control backspace to fill it with white, or whatever color you happen to have selected here. So you can see now we have an alpha channel that all of these areas are white, meaning these are the areas that are going to be visible whenever we take this back into Maya. One thing though, if you take a look at this one section of the dirt map, there's a little bit that's not very cleanly cut off. So, and this may become a problem when we take this back into Maya. You may see this hard edge where the dirt map abruptly ends. So what we can do just very easily is if we go ahead and select a black color as our foreground, and then just take our paintbrush, and we can just paint some of this black area back in, and that'll just help eliminate that hard edge. Okay, so now we have a nice alpha channel that we can save with our image. Okay, so let's go ahead and now take this and save it as a TIFF, and we'll just call this body color. Okay, and want to save an alpha channel. We don't want to save any layers, so let's go ahead and turn those off and make sure that we do have it set to a TIFF format. Okay, we can go ahead and hit save. Okay, now in the next video, we'll go ahead and bring this into Maya.